Time for me to warn you that it is possible that in the course of the next hour and 55 minutes or so, you may hear some rough language. You'll be introduced to concepts you find unwholesome. If you fear that this is a possibility, clearly you should be listening to something else. As regular listeners will know, there are a few words in English finer than tonight, a news session from the fall, and that's what we've got for you. We think it's the 24th, but we're not absolutely certain about it. Before I play you the first track, an email from Chris Goodhead, the first of the night. Chris has a quick message to say that I've had a bloody awful week so far. Nevertheless, I'm still excited at the prospect of another Mighty Fall session. I've been to a couple of recent shows, and they've got a really good song that mentions Harold Shipman. They've been playing Walk Like a Man. Our old bass player is now the guitarist. It's all business as usual, really. Chaos, but good chaos.
Just trying to tune.
They tuning up. You just fucking play it, isn't it?
It's a traditional riff.
Brighten up your evening for you a bit. From the Fall, Class Pans.
Need some out at the ends and just go do 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 do. Then sad. No. Just be yourselves. Get to start again. Get to start again. Hey.
Oh, it's been really good, this. Oh, really? Having a really good groove through it.
I'll do it again. I said.
Yeah.
Let me have a word.
Sure.
We're doing it again, kids, with a bit fucking, just hit it a bit harder. Rhythm section of the keyboards. Steve, you gotta fucking play a bit harder, and you gotta be in tune, and you gotta do it on the changes.
You heard a taster of this earlier on. It'll be slightly louder now, I think. Actually, The Fall and Blindness.
Everywhere I look, I see a blind man. I see a blind man.
To be realistic, you barely need anything else, do you? The 24th session for the programme, as far as we know. The very first of them was recorded at Maida Vale on the 30th of whichever the 5th month is, in 1978 and broadcast.
We are all living legends, so close. My brain is imploding, but everything is all right. I am a rabbit from Germany. I was very happy. I could frolic around on it by the Leipzig station.
But tonight, of course, is a night for The Fall, and this is What About Us?
Ah, what about us, Shepherdman? What about us, Shepherdman? What about us?
Well, I am tempted to say that this is possibly the best Fall session that we've ever had, but I'd probably say that about all of them. That was called What About Us? An email here from Sean Cordell, and it reads in part, my youth can be tracked through the development of The Fall. A good way to spend your life, I think, Sean.
Wrong place! Right, sorry. Because you have to walk to the vegetarian organic shop in Maida Vale. Ah! One!
Here's the first take.
Come on, yeah, first take. Look around that. Place! Around town. I used to think I could do what I wanted to. Around town. From here alone. I want the streets to complete full home. Shout! I can't dance. I can't stand. Clip forever as a young over. My clag said I'm a bastard. He is the reason I will you around.
As we know, the band have recorded sessions for the programme pretty much every year. The sessions being 82, 89, 97. Not quite sure how that happened. And then for some reason, there were no more sessions after 98 until 2003. John, can you tell us why this was, it says here? Breakdown in communications, I think probably the best reason I can give you.
Wrote this script for this. You know, like, I come in and start shouting at you because you have it on the track. So why have you done the fucking track, son?
Well, we just thought, because you got in the pub, we thought we better sort of
Don't say that to me.
Oh,
Don't
sorry.
you say that to me.
We've been working out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, boss.
Yeah, sorry, but I was. You had only a drummer. I have backstreet.
Big track for Mike in Frome and Ben in London, our soul Shadows, and to all the young Fall fans, big up. And Spencer is a top Fall drummer.
See what I mean? Great, shot it. What I'm saying is we could improve on that. Maybe a little bit
We can
tighter.
start
That's
somewhere. We have to do wrong place again, do we?
Okay, welcome back to We Are the Fall. I'm Gavin.
And I'm Steve.
And what we were just listening to at the beginning there was like a kind of snippets of video called The Fall recording their last and final Peel session. And that is, it's kind of interesting that we finally get to see kind of the makings of a Peel session by The Fall after 26 Fall years. Did you get it? You glean anything from that, Steve? Behind the scenes footage? It was so
Yeah, I
fun
mean,
to watch.
It really was. I mean, it's kind of like you got to see how the sausage was made, and you kind of maybe you were thrown off a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
seeing Mark deliver the lines without the music, with the headphones on, and he had the cymbal, he had his tape recorder playing into it. I mean, it was an oddity, and then by the end, you're like, oh man, like it's what he knew how to do, right? You're used to seeing him on stage with the band, with the noise.
You got yeah, and we'll put the link into the show info section, but you got to watch the whole video because it answers a lot of the questions that we've always been talking about through all of these sessions, which is, what does the band do multiple takes? In this one, in 2004, their last session that we're getting into today, they were doing multiple takes. They were doing Mark isolated vocals and and I don't assume that they did the same thing every time. I think they kind of approached it, for all I know, a different way every time. Especially the early years, it seemed like it was real live takes, and then they got into maybe using the studio more as a studio space. But just seeing Mark using the microphone the only way he can use it in his mic etiquette, he's like moving the windscreen around because they probably told him, don't touch this type of microphone. This is like expensive shit. And then also he's putting the tape recorder up there, and like you said, he's smashing a cymbal while he's doing an isolated vocal, and just to get it. And I was like, damn, he was always trying to come up with ways to make it interesting for himself. He was even walking around, kind of like turning away from the microphone and singing at the same time. So fun to watch that. And so today we're getting into the final two Peel sessions by The Fall from 2003 and 2004. Like John Peel said, it's been a while, but I'm glad that these two sessions are the ones they kind of wrapped up on. What do you feel?
Yeah, I think they're good sessions. They're rocking. I went back and took a little flavor of a lot of the past Peel sessions.
Oh,
and,
good. Yeah, I did too.
I was a little sad. This has been one of our favorite things to listen to talk about. Just a different sound than you kind of get anywhere else. A live set, the official albums and things like that. This is, they're great. I mean, it's just a great way to hear The Fall. I think this will be in my back pocket, probably for the rest of my life, when I'm just like, what do I want to play? Like, how do we pick a Fall album to listen to? And you're like, just blast some Peel sessions and have a great time.
Yeah, totally. I was doing the same thing. I was going back and doing a retrospective, and isn't it just wild how consistent they were in these sessions? It's just so wild. Like almost every single. I was like, as I was going through them, I was like, are there any? Of course, we've hit on a couple recent ones that are not the prime cuts. And those are so rare. Like, it's just like 24 sessions and maybe 1.5, 2 sessions are not quality that you'd expect from the band. It's just a wild batting average. It's just so high. I was even listening to other Peel sessions by other bands, and I was like, they're good and they always sound good, but they're just not I don't know, the immediacy to them, which
And
is great.
especially for how inconsistent the fall could be, especially throughout the years, right? Like, they were always there, but you never knew what you were going to get, especially in live sets. And
And albums.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and they brought it every single time they stepped into BBC, which is, good on them, and it makes sense why they just kept getting invited back.
There was like a parasite and host dynamic, however you want to put it, whoever you want to put in that between the Maida Vale studio and the fall, like making the long drive, getting to the studio, having to do the session all day. Even there's a portion of that video where one of the band members says to Mark, "Hey, I think we should do another take before you head off to the pub." And he says, don't you say that to me. Don't you ever say that to me. And he's kind of joking, but he's also kind of serious in that the band knows what the deal is at this point, which I actually appreciate, because this band, they know how to work with Mark. Mark knows how to work with them and get the best out of them. He's even kind of directing them from the vocal booth, or from the control room, and he's telling them, you got to play that a little harder, you got to play that a little faster, the bass and the synth needs to be kind of getting those transitions a little tighter. And so it's fun to see him like in that kind of producer mode. And that also answers the questions that we had earlier, which was like, was the producer hands-on? It doesn't really matter, because Mark is always hands-on. So I don't know, I got a lot of insights from seeing that. And also, it just makes me more excited to listen to the 2 sessions we have today. It's also kind of fun that, even though it's a little bit like a melancholic that we had to finish up all the Peel sessions right now, there's still 13 years left of the fall. And before this point that we're in, 26 years ago, they did their first Peel session. So it's just like a wild timeline. And to just put it into that context, it's almost like mind blowing what has happened across these sessions. The variety, the band members changing out, and yet it's still so solid, so consistent, so good, sounding at times the best that the band has ever sound, the best that some of the versions of the songs that are performed on these Peel sessions are some of the ultimate versions that you could probably ask for, fidelity wise and performance wise.
Yeah,
do you, Steve, do you have any favorite looking back Peel sessions? If you had to,
had to pick one. I was going back, I was thinking about it. I brought it to you. I was like, this would be fun to see if you can pick a song, pick a session.
Very hard. Good challenge.
Yeah, especially on a last minute notice. And
I'm interested to hear which kind of era you're going for.
So, I mean, I loved the first Peel session. The
very first.
That's not my favorite, but I love the first two.
Yeah.
I was like, man, they are playing hard and fast. And I was, if you had, which most of the world had not, or most of Britain at least had not heard the fall at all. And I was like, damn, if this was on the radio and I had never heard this before, you better believe I'm going to be searching this band out and trying to find out more about them. But the one,
let's just say that the first session has Futures and Past, Mother Sister, Rebellious Jukebox, and Industrial Estate. With the original lineup, I mean, that's just choice cuts.
And it was just punk. I mean, it was just hard, fast, just great, sounded great. They were all young and eager and excited, and
super tight band for being a newish band. So tight. But my favorite, the one I landed on was session number 3, 1980. Oh,
Container Drivers, Jawbone and the Air Rifle, a long 7-minute New Puritan, and then I think my favorite on the whole thing was New Face in Hell. You get the kazoo, you get Mark screeching. He hasn't shredded his vocals yet. He's all over the place. I think that one landed in my top one.
I love that session as well from 1980 because it has everything like that the fall can do in one session, right? It's got Container Drivers, which is a giddy up song, and then it's got Jawbone and Air Rifle, which has grown to be like one of my all-time favorites. I mean, it just is like when we were first getting into this, like it was hard for me to wrap my mind around a song like that because it was just so abstract but like interesting, and like I appreciated that it wasn't accessible immediately because it's made it more of a track that I've grown to love even deeper than a lot of the other tracks. And yeah, and even New Puritan, like in the middle of it, that's great. So like for me, I was like between these 1981 sessions, but even so they did 2 sessions in 1981, and they're both really great. And even the session right after that in 1983, it kicks off with "Smile," and that's one of my favorite versions of that song, and it's so sinister and disturbing, and to picture it when it's playing as being played on the radio and you're hearing that come across the airwaves, it just puts, like, a chill down your spine in a very, like, nice way. But I gotta go with honestly, I gotta go with the 1981 session number 5 because it's got Deer Park, it's got Look No, so it's got kind of a throwback there, but it's got Winter, and then it has Who Makes the Nazis, and so I like it in a similar way that I think that you like the 1980 session, which is, like, it has all of the components of a good fall mini set, like, with a weird abstract winter in the middle. It's got it ending with Who Makes the Nazis, and honestly, Deer Park is also one of those songs that's grown to be one of my favorites as well. And know what else kind of you have to put these into context? Well, it makes it more fun to put them into context of them being played on the Peel sessions, is that session came out before Hex Induction Hour, and just to hear those songs, even some of the songs from Slates in the first 1981 session, you're hearing these songs before the album comes out, and it's making me so excited that if I heard that session, I'd be like fiending to get my hands on the album, right? Like, I'm just looking forward to it after I hear that. I'm like, I hope they are on the album. Like, I don't even know. You know, you might even get
Oh yeah, no,
a
you have no
song that's
idea.
not the song you might get a song that you're like, "Well, I hope that's on the album," and they might not come out for the another couple albums. So, just to listen to it in that way, which we've been trying to do, is just making it so much more worthwhile as a listener from our perspective. So but now we gotta go into 2003, and Steve, let's just put it into context for ourselves. Like, in 2003, imagine hearing this, and we're, like, in high school, and we're gonna hear this on the radio. How would you think you would feel? You know, would you take it as a high schooler? We didn't have the luxury of the John Peel radio show or BBC in the US, so what would you think you would take it as, like, a high school kid listening to these songs?
I mean, yeah, I would have.
A dumb high school kid.
I would have. I mean, not appreciated it in the way I should have, but thinking more now, I'm like, man, I would have really appreciated a show like this that was accessible over the, what we used to listen to was the top 9 at 9, which was just like the top alternative songs at 9 o'clock. Like,
Yeah, good point, good point.
that we're not the top 9 tracks in the country. They were all alternative, a little bit out there, but nothing at all like this.
No, not even close. More
Not even-
radio friendly.
radio friendly. Yeah, of course. Top
Yeah.
radio, alternative radio, some grunge, some weird, like it was mainstream, but in the rock genre.
Yeah. And trying to sell records, like, that was alternative rock. But I think because we were both in the alternative rock kind of mindset and listening to that sort of stuff, if I heard this, I think that it would be a little bit hard to wrap your head around, but at the same time, it sounds nothing like any of those alternative rock songs that were on the radio at this time that we were getting. And I think that it would have been just really intriguing, and probably as like music heads that we are, I think I probably would have delved into the fall discography sooner, hearing this these sets.
Yeah, and I was into punk, and even some like international punk. It wasn't all. Chicago had a huge punk scene at that time, so
Right, right.
like I was into it. I was going to shows, but it, the internet was there, but it wasn't what it was like. So you were still you were trapped in by what you could find on LimeWire before you destroyed your parents' computer. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like there's some sort of element of danger in the fall always that none of the radio alternative tracks were even close to having, or even like the depth. There's no depth to almost, and you have to be like going a little bit deeper into the alternative rock scene and to find some tracks that were going as deep as even like something like the theme from Sparta FC, right? Even something like that, that's like accessible song. It has a layer of references that you're like, I have to put things together. It's not giving it to me all put together. It's giving me all these parts that I have to try to put together.
And I mean, we had some a couple of different kind of battling radio stations that were playing some classic rock, like 70s, 80s, 90s music, 70s, 80s stuff. That was interesting. But it's, again, I don't ever really remember hearing any fall songs. I mean, none
Not really.
none that really you would recognize or hear.
Honestly, probably only on the college radio stations, right? Like at Columbia University or something, or Northwestern University college radio station would be playing the fall songs, which in Chicago, those big radio stations are just blasting out the signal that is like, it kind of takes up the bandwidth. And it's like, if you're going to hear it, you're going to hear it all kind of fading in and out as you're driving around Chicago, or even walking around with your cassette Walkman with the radio tuner in it, and you're not going to get it like fully. And that might be actually a good thing for some of the fall tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough market, right? It's just big. Like you're not searching for anything else because there's 7 or 8 mainstream radio stations that are, all you got to do is track through the 7 and you'll find something decent to listen to. So you're not necessarily searching out the John Peel, radio hour on a college radio or something like that.
And there are radio stations in Chicago that would play like the local bands, of course, but a lot of it was just kind of mainstream radio. So it was, and in America, it's what are the record labels pushing, right? What are they paying for to get on the radio? So it seems like BBC was, from what I know about it, is a little bit more, I don't know, a wider range. The DJs had more, especially John Peel, had free range to go around.
I think that's what a big thing was people were tuning in for the DJ. And not to say they weren't in the US or in Chicago, like they definitely were. People loved their DJs, but they didn't have nearly as much creative liberty to play what they wanted.
Yeah. And this brings us to an interesting point, because I think you got some stats.
Oh yeah, I was playing around looking at how much John Peel loved the fall. Do you know, you want to pick the date of the first, you pick the song and see if you can pick the date, month, whatever, of the first time he played the fall.
Oh, the month?
Yeah, the year.
Okay,
I mean, the year should be easy enough.
7. I mean, they got the 77 recordings. Maybe I'm going to say 78.
Yep.
Okay. The month. I'm going to say September. I'm going to say my birth month.
It's my birth month, June.
Oh, damn it.
And he got so that he played June, July, and August in 78.
So once he got
Oh.
it, he was immediately on
Well, yeah, I
board.
was gonna say June, July, August, August 10th, August 11th, August 15th, August 16th, August 17th, August 18th, 21st. He didn't really give up in 78. He just kept playing them. So what's the first track you think?
I'm gonna say the very first track he played was Psycho Mafia.
Oh, it was Stepping Out.
Stepping Out.
Off the Short Circuit Live at the Electric Circus.
Okay. The Electric Circus compilation. That
Yeah.
makes total sense. All right. Stepping Out. Good choice. Good
Stepping
choice.
Out, yeah. Stepping Out into Last Orders, then into Psycho Mafia. And then he just fell in love with Bingo Master's Breakout and basically covered the entire EP once a week.
Yeah, as he should. Honestly.
We'll go all the way to 2004, and we'll see if you can guess his last track. We'll have last track he played, and then we'll have an asterisk for last track that he picked.
Okay, so I'm going to say 2004. This is a session we're going to be covering today, and I think the session might end with Blindness.
Yeah, but these aren't off of his sessions. These are just tracks he's played on the show. So not the sessions.
So that Fallhead's Roll is not out yet. So I'm gonna say he played something from Real New Fall LP. I'm gonna say Green Eyed Loco Man.
It's a tough one. So in October 28th. Oh, so I guess this was him. It must have been pre-recorded because he died on the 25th. So this must have been a pre-recorded show that he did. He played, it was aired on October 28th, 2004. He played Hit the North Part 1.
Oh, so he went back. He didn't play a current. He went back.
And then, so then there was 3 more shows that Rob DeBank hosted, and he was planning to host while he was on vacation in Peru. So these are 3 weeks are songs that John picked and had the set lists already for him. He basically John DeBank was just overseeing it.
Okay, that makes sense why the show was pre-recorded so he could go on the holiday.
But this is so there's one more track. The last track on the John Peel show that he picked was Telephone Thing.
Oh wow. Okay, I would have never picked that. No chance I would have picked that one or assumed it. Yeah, but that kind of just shows that John loved it all, which is beautiful.
He's the man behind the famous line, right? Gotta have them all.
I also like that John also said, answering a question from a listener, they asked why has it been so long? Because the previous session before these last 2 sessions in 2003 and 2004 was in 1998, so 5 years before, just under. And he just said communication issues, communication breakdown, and that makes sense. It was kind of a tumultuous time, and also it was the time when the Fall started putting more space. I'm talking multiple years in between their LPs. And so there was a lot of change happening as far as the productivity, the band makeup, everything, even Mark's personal life. It seemed like in positive ways and in other ways. So it's kind of, you always have that question when they're doing it every year and sometimes 2 sessions a year, like they did in the last one, the group, which was the one we covered, which was the 298 sessions. So, Steve, I think we've laid it out. I think I'm excited.
I got
you got anything else?
Two more little trivia.
Okay, let's go.
What do you think? How many out of all the years, 78 to 2004, how many Fall songs do you think he played on his show?
Oh my God. He had a show every week?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, maybe some weeks off, but I think every week.
So I'm going to say 52 weeks. He takes his 2 vacation weeks down to Purdue every year. I'm going to say 50 weeks over 26 years that the Fall was probably in the sessions. Jesus, that's around 1,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think he's playing one a week? He
Yes. If he was playing that much at the end, he was
Yeah.
probably playing way more at the beginning, like you said he was.
we got 1,617
Oh my God.
fall tracks.
Oh my Lord.
You want to guess the year he played the most?
Yeah.
Not obvious. So you're
1985.
1993. He played the fall 101 times.
1993.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what kind of got him kicking extra hard that year. 1990. What was going on there? What came out? Was it the infotainment scan came out in 93? So that was getting him jonesing. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what he was playing in 93.
The full infotainment scan album. I would not be surprised about that. Also, it seems like the BBC was like paying out. You know how the radio stations pay to every time they play a song, or at least back then. Shit, I don't know what it's like nowadays. But it seemed like the BBC, because it was like a government run institution, that they had to have that, like, procedurally pay out the artists when we play them on government radio, pay them out, which is good. So I gotta assume too that that Marky Smith and Cog Sinister label and the Fall appreciated that as a little bump in the finances to be played that much. Or maybe maybe Mark and John were talking via letters, as they did, and Mark's like, "Hey man, like
Times are
tough," and he's like, "Oh, I got you covered. I got you covered for at least the Cog Sinister rent check for this year."
He's all over the place. I mean, it's not. He's covering it all. It's not. Why are we grudgeful? I mean, what is that? Is that?
Why are we? Yeah.
I think he played that entire thing. Yeah, he did. He played it all in one episode.
Yep. I mean, I'm not surprised. Not surprised in the least bit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it was a true passion for him.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
He brought it to the masses more than kind of the heads just reading the news, like the real music heads reading the indie music papers and magazines, who were seeing the Fall's name. It sounds like, from what we've heard from everyone that was following the band after they found out about him at that time, it seemed like the Fall got good press, or got like a spotlight press in the early years and the mid years, in the 80s, of course, but it sounded like he just kind of threw it in there. And maybe it's something like, as we found, where the Fall being an acquired taste to most, and there's of course the outliers that got it right away, which is cool too. But just John Peel playing it all the time and playing an eclectic set, it's got to be like, it had to engage so many other listeners that may have just passed it off or written it off right away as something they're not interested in. But after him being so into it as a host and playing it so much, you kind of just have to have that. You have to immerse yourself. And even within a radio show, hearing it every week, one song.
And you're sitting there liking John Peel, tuning in every week to listen to him, and he's loving it. You're like, it's
what am I missing?
Exactly. You're almost in it. You almost dive in purely because you're like, why does he like it and I don't? Like, exactly? What am I missing? What is it that he loves his music and I love what he plays, and then why don't I like this on the surface? And then, if you're obviously interested in music just to a level above the general pop, if you're tuning in to Peel every week, so you give it a chance, and then here you are, you're a Fall fan.
Yes, that's right. And we want to hear from our Fall fans out there, and tell us, like, I always like to hear, we always like to read about listeners' experiences other than our own. What was your experience when you first heard The Fall? Where were you? What was going on? How did you, how'd you take it? And then also, did you hear it on John Peel's session or the John Peel show? And what was that like, hearing it sandwiched in between two tracks that are not The Fall? Because that is always the even more wild thing to hear it into a weird context of a playlist that is not conducive to a fall dynamic or a Marky Smith vocal coming at you. So let's get into, Steve, the 2003 session, the penultimate session from The Fall in the Peel sessions. And we got 4 tracks. We got the lineup from 2003. I think we should just jump into the tracks and let's have a good time and let's appreciate what is going on here as they wrap up strongly. So let's get started and let's lead it off with
Theme from Sparta FC.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, fuck up.
This is a really great version because I almost listened to it as an alternative version because I went down a deep rabbit hole of this, like a little bit after this time period where the Dudes, the American band, comes into play, and they play this song a lot in the live sets. So that's almost my first original version live performance wise, and it's so fun to listen to, like I'm just gonna say the original Sparta FC band lineup playing it, because it is a little bit different, and this version has all of the layered vocals of Elena singing at the beginning, and then it has the gang vocal in the behind him. It's kind of got everything.
I kind of like her whisper vocals at first, and she just kind of get progressively louder and more pronounced in the song. It's good.
Yeah, and then the dude vocals are like yelling at you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean it's like a real hooligan song there versus some of the other ones, which it's not as much. So
yeah, and this one is also fun because it's a great lead off track for what could be the last session, but it also kind of raises the question of the tracks he chose, and we're gonna get up into this a little bit more as we get into the 2004 session. They pick as a band songs that are kind of very they're not experimental. They're not trying to put off the listener. They're kind of like the accessible songs. They almost pick the hits in some ways. And even trying to do some of these covers, they're trying to pick the hooky songs. And I don't know if that's intentional or if it just turned out that way.
It's tough to say. I mean, I feel like at this point, Mark is he's not ready to give up on his art and go mainstream, but I think he's willing to push forward a little bit more on what he knows will have some commercial success, just to put him in a place of comfort, and not have to worry about the bills as much. So, he's not selling out by any stretch of the imagination, but he's like, okay, well, you guys like this one, so we'll give it to you. Like, I'm not playing only the deep cuts just because it gives me kicks. I'll play what you want to hear.
How much does it being 5 years almost before from the last session, what they were in the BBC studio, where it's kind of like, hey, we're back. I'm going to give them something that's totally rocking the whole way through. And even at the end of the set, I'm going to give you a little throwback on both of these sets. Right.
And if that was and was that possibly kind of in question of why they weren't invited back? Like,
because they went off the rails. I mean, there were some sketchy ones.
And even if John wanted them back, maybe the BBC is like, yeah, no, we don't really want Mark around here. Like, he was a real asshole last time. It didn't really work out. Like, why don't we give it a break for a year? And that turns into 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're like, okay, you're invited, but best behavior, please. Like.
Or they got all new staff at the studio, right? And they're all Fall fans, and they're just like, "Oh, please, like, please, let me do it. Let me do the session." I bet you there was some sort of either they're assigned to it, or like the head engineer gets the first pick, right? If you're going to work the session or whatever. But it's kind of like at this point, they're like, there's got to be some staffers at the BBC studios that are like, "Oh, please, let me be a part of this. Even I'll come on my off day. I'll come off on my day off of work just to be a part of this session, just to see how it goes down." Oh man. And it is cool because we watched the video at the beginning of them in the studio. It's fun to see the isolated vocal performances by Mark, and then how they turned out, which they made them sound so good. Like, they put the compressed vocal, they put a little bit of distortion on his vocal. That just tells me a lot too, because in some of the middle of the Fall Peel sessions, you kind of got like, you're kind of guessing, like, is Mark doing that manipulation of the vocal mic himself? Are they doing it? And it seems like he's definitely doing some manipulation no matter what. They're just making it sound good. They're going to make whatever product he is feeling confident in as the vocal performance and making it sound fitting in the mix perfectly. I just applaud them for that.
And for in both these sessions, he's speaking, he's enunciating, he's speaking clearly, but he's delivering it the way he wants, which is just exactly what we want.
Yeah, that's right. So let's get into another thing that we want, which is contraflow. So that was contraflow, and we got to give a shout out to the namesake, the YouTube channel contraflow, for turning us on to all the Peel sessions, but also all of these Fall more obscure recordings and things. So go check out the contraflow YouTube page if you wanted to dive deep. Steve, I want to ask you, Peel session is always an interesting dynamic because a lot of the times the band is playing songs before they go into the studio and record the albums, or they have just recorded the album version. What do you think they were using this opportunity as far as recording artists?
Why they're playing these songs?
More so, I'm interested in. There's some reason why these performances are always so good, but there's also some element to it where I feel like they're using this opportunity to get a recording of the song that may influence the album recording if they're going into the studio, or they've just done album recording of the song and they're doing it here with a little bit of a different temperament.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, at this point, I don't know in 2003, but I felt like early on they were doing it as like a final beta test.
Yeah.
They had played it at shows. They were in the groove. They were feeling ready, and they were like, okay, now what does this sound like in a studio? We like it. We're gonna put it on the record, but do we need to change it? Is it set? Where are we at? Let's play it in the perfect. We'll play it in the BBC studio, which is gonna be premiere. And we can listen back and decide, do we want to tweak anything?
Yeah, I feel like that too. Like there was like an opportunity to get a good recording of it from a professional studio. It's going to sound good, almost like a demo take, but then also they can compare it to what they're hearing in the studio. I don't know if they did this or not, but they could compare it to what they were recording in the studio. And if they wanted to say, hey, I liked what we did here. I like that we didn't. But then at the same time, a lot of these sessions to me sound like they're stripped back a little bit. They're not going for the full production. They're just going for the full performance, which is like a focus that the Fall could get into, and they definitely got into it live on stage in front of an audience, and they were so good at getting into that same element in these recordings. So I just appreciate it in that form, because even like when we talked to Dave Bush, remember, he was like, oh, did we do the version where I had this big, like this intro kind of sample at the beginning for M5, and they had like this thing in there, and then we're like, no, that's not in the version. But he's like, oh, that was a good version. But it was kind of like, maybe like that's kind of speaks to them stripping it back, right? And be like, no, we're just gonna do it with the essential items. There's no overdubs unless it's Mark smashing a cymbal while he's singing. One man band.
I was going back and reading some of Steve Hanley's book, and when they were talking about John Peel's 50th birthday party that they played, and kind of the next little section was about Dave Bush getting introduced to the band, and he was saying how he didn't even like the band until he was like standing on the stage as a roadie and like listening to him for the first time. He's like, yeah, I didn't even really like you guys until like then it finally clicked for me. And I was like, man, you guys are awesome. Like I can do something with this. Like, let me help.
That also goes into how Mark said he does not like Fall fans being band members. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like even recently, Steve Pringle was talking to Rob Barbado, one of the dudes. Rob was basically saying, yeah, like we got offered to be in the Fall, and me and Tim Presley and I were like, yeah, for sure, we're going to do this. He's like, but I wasn't really a big Fall head like at that time. And he's like, and I think it helped. He's like, because we kind of like went to meet him, and like obviously they were kind of like intimidated meeting Mark, but he was kind of like it. I was kind of like, as a presence, as a persona, he's definitely intimidating, but he was so nice to us. And then he kind of liked that we weren't like the biggest Fall heads, and it kind of worked out better that we didn't have that.
I think it helps you bring in your own talents and sound, and not, if you're a huge fan and you're the bass, you're like, okay, so you want Steve Hanley, right? Like, okay, I'll just play the Steve Hanley bass. And you're like, no, that's like, he's gone. That's not
we've done that.
We're not what we're going for anymore. Like,
Yeah.
You don't have to go into left field, but like, no, don't
No.
stay on that line. Like, play what you do.
Well, it's funny too because as much as that would have been so successful, like a bass player coming in and playing the straight up. I mean, just look at the song "Blindness," which we'll get into in the next session, which is a great version. Just look how successful that song is because of obviously the lyrics are awesome as well and excellent. But it's so successful because that bass riffage sounds like Steve Hanley-esque. And just imagine them going for that old school Steve Hanley original fall type of sound. Even go to a Tony Friel bass style, right? Like just to try to like capture that kind of vibe. The listeners are gonna eat that up, and Mark's like, no, that is too easy. That's in the past. I'm not a look back, fucking cog.
Yeah, you're not a session musician. You're not here to do it. You're here to create, and like let's do this together.
Yeah, and also we know this, and we know this from discussing all of these albums and all of these sessions. Mark wanted to be reinvigorated, and there's no other way the band would have kept going forward and being as creative as they were if he wasn't invigorated. And of course, there have been points of time, and we just passed some of it in the 90s, where you can hear Mark is not invigorated and he's not engaged. And that is because they're probably doing something that he's already kind of heard before. And he's not like really motivated by that. So it all is just like what he was wanting. And he was really good at being a director and putting actors into the roles that he knew could perform the roles for the most part. I mean, he was so successful at that, getting new band members to get into these roles and even like switching them around, right? Even like swapping, going from bass to guitar, and some of the band members were even better in that role, and he was just like, you're going to do that now, or you wanted to do that, now you can do it. Yes, it works. We're going forward. So let's get into the first cover of our sets, and it's kind of a mashup because it is two songs and it goes into a fall song. We got Groovin' with Mr. Blow and Green Eyed Loco Man. Steve, how do you like the mashup there? The segue, the transition.
I mean, I think they got the pace of both songs good, and Green Eyed Local Man seems pretty slow down,
it does.
which I don't hate.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But yeah, they kind of match the tempo of the Blow Man, Mr. Blow, and kept it going, which I thought it was a good version.
They kind of do this in the next session too, right? Like with the cover. They kind of slow down in the next session, the cover, and it kind of is just, it's kind of just a more interesting listen because it is different. And it's one that I love too. This is something they've started doing in this era of the band, 2003, 2004, which is the segueing of songs. And I don't know why this has come about, but it's fucking great. And I love that they do it, this technique. I can only put it on the band members because this is kind of a relatively solid overlapping of band members between sessions where they are just like, hey, we can do this. Why don't we try to do this? And I don't think it would necessarily be a thing that Mark would put together. I think it's more of a musician thing where it's like, hey, this is in the same key, or the key of this song will go into this song pretty well. And him being open to it is like, let's try it. And then it just fucking works. It's great. Especially for when you're only playing 4 songs and you can squeeze in another song. That is a fall move. How much music are we allowed to play? That's the question when you go into the studio.
Yeah, well, you're like, I used to play a lot of long ones, so how about I'll play 2 short ones and call it one. And yeah, I don't know if they didn't want to do it because they were like afraid of people kind of catching on that some of their riffs weren't exactly original. Like, yeah. We don't want it to know that our song sounds exactly like that song without Mark's lyrics on top of it. Like, let's not pull the veil off of this. And
yeah, and at this point, maybe they're just like, fuck it. Now
fuck it.
Everyone knows. We weren't even trying to hide it, honestly. I don't think the Fall were ever trying to hide it. They're just kind of like, yeah, we were definitely playing that riff and it turned into that. And it's great. It's great. And most of the times when they did rip off riffs, it was obviously, you definitely heard the riff and you're like, oh, that is definitely another song. But it's very rare where they ripped it off and you're like, oh, that was kind of, a throwaway track. There's instances, but I can't really think of it off the top of my head of one where it's like they definitely ripped it off and it didn't like even remotely turn into something that was listenable in an interesting way.
And it was like one instrument was ripping the riff, and the rest were dancing around doing something else. And
because they didn't know the song, they didn't know the song as well. They just started playing other stuff. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is a good riff." Even Mark is like, "Oh no, I know that riff." Mark is like, "I know that riff. Keep going, keep going." Oh man. Yeah. And so there's only one band member that's kind of feeling a little bit like apprehensive about like straight rip off. And then all the other band members are like, no, it's a good song. It's a great song. Now, all right, let's finish this up and let's just jump. I'm just as a surprise to our listeners that are not like familiar with this session set. Let's just end with this song. Enjoy.
His heart organ was where it should be, but his brain was in his ass. His hand was one of his pockets.